Zoom is
Hello.
changing. Hi, Vivek. Zoom is
Yeah.
changing. It's not allowing me to use the
Okay.
It's asking
I
us
see.
10 minutes before
Ah.
again.
Okay.
Wait,
Okay.
let's hope everybody sees it.
Search.
I think there you go. Yeah, we can continue with the conversation.
Zoom app
Okay.
iPhone
1 minute, Saranti. 1 minute.
Mom's trying to get in here.
Yeah, mom's trying to get it. The problem persists, so she will continue from my phone. No problem. My communication is not working with the Zoom platform, I believe. I don't know. Yeah. So where were we? Yeah.
Talking about, I
The
think the silence is turning around, is kind of getting equated to patience or having the
patient.
ability to,
Totally.
cope with what the other person is wanting to do or not wanting to do. I think that's where
Yeah.
is going.
Like I said, we don't want to tolerate the other person, but we have to like the onus is on us to communicate with him and
Yeah.
make him realize that his perception is not uh, in sync with the reality or something like that.
Or it's not,
Or
I mean, I think it's more what we are saying and what they're understanding, or what they are saying and what we are understanding. That is not in sync. So how can we use
yeah,
silence to make that happen, or use appropriate words to make that happen, or body language.
Time will tell.
yeah. The only way to do that is that to like I said, just to state the facts as it is.
Awesome.
These are the facts that are in front of us. So, what is your take on it? This is my take, and what is your take on it? We tend to argue about these facts and present our own versions of these facts. That is not true. Yeah. So, like,
argue that their fact is what is the fact. A lot of the time the fact is not necessarily a fact. It's your own perception, it's your opinion, it's your thought process, but not necessary that the other person looks at it as a fact, right? So that's where most of our problems come.
But there are certain facts that are very stark. Like now it's morning in Kerala and night in Australia, and sorry, evening in Australia and night in America. That is a fact that we can't ignore. In how many ways we can explain it, or we can call it an illusion, or everything is in perception. or some philosophical mumbo jumbo, but the Jagrat Avastha, or the reality is that it is now 10:30, 10:20 in India, and the appropriate time in Australia, and the appropriate time in New York. That is how the world works in our conscious state. So we can't ignore the facts of the conscious state and interpret the spiritual or the subconscious facts to our conscious state, and argue with that point of view. So because that is a never-ending process, and nobody is going to win. It's just like a catch-22 or a kamikaze moment. There is no winning.
Bhavin is
Yeah.
trying to say something.
Yeah.
Can you say something, because we can't hear you? You want to?
All I could gather was something is wrong. That's what he's mentioning in the chat.
Do you want to log out and log back in? Maybe try that. Akka, you have any comments on what we're talking about? I know you were talking about being able to express what we have to. Can't be silent all the time, which is true. And I think which is what we were also trying to say. But how I think important point for me is, how do we make them understand where we are coming from? I think that's where most of us struggle with. I hope. There you go.
Oh, yeah.
Hello?
But
I think he's having issues with his mic or something.
Sarah, what I have to say is, why
Sure.
don't we change the vocabulary or the word? I
Mhm.
always keep saying we don't have to argue. Why can't you make it a healthy discussion
Absolutely.
so that we don't waste our energy?
Yeah, absolutely.
Anyway, it is going to take time.
Absolutely. I
Why?
think
Because
it is
yes,
important that we make it a healthy discussion. I think that's where Vivek is trying to take. I don't believe in just being silently putting up with whatever. I don't believe in it either, because at some point or the other, we have to communicate what's in our minds. That it's lack of communication doesn't necessarily solve all the problems for us. But I think it's
We are just putting it off.
yeah,
We are
we're
keeping
putting it off.
on
Exactly.
silent. Yeah.
Exactly. Because there are some people in my life that I deal with who just don't respond to anything you tell them or ask. And when it's a silence that they are using to communicate to you, which is basically that silence is not giving me any answers. I don't know how to move forward, you know. And that kind of, it's kind of what Mani Mahalaka was mentioning in her remark in the thing, saying sometimes people use that as a form of resistance.
yes,
They don't
True.
want to have anything to do
Mm.
with what we're talking about, and that is their way of
Yes.
saying, I don't want to say
Yes.
it, So if they're blocking communication at that point. So where is the question of healthy discussion there? There is no discussion. End of the day, when you keep asking, your frustration at the most builds, or we learn to silence ourselves.
Silence. Yes.
You can't move forward. Essentially, you can't move
Yes.
forward. I mean, that's how I see it. So where is the question of, there's no communication, period.
So we have got to accept them as they are.
As they are.
No other way.
So,
Yes.
yeah, how do we coexist?
Accommodate.
Yeah, how do you coexist? How do you work together? So it's when it comes to practical situations, it becomes very difficult, to do that. He's saying, I feel silence should be used as a communication skill, not only be silent. It's a non-verbal communication. Yes. And it should be effective to get the job done. If they're,
People tend to give the silent treatment because they think that it is working on us. If we show them it's not working on us, then they'll change their strategy. So that is one thing that we can do. Like you said, if in your perception, the person who's not having a communication with you or giving you the silent treatment, he can assess, or he can tune in to your frequency and know your mood, that this is working on her. You are getting frustrated, you are getting irritated, so it's working. So they can assess that. So once they start assessing that it's not troubling you, so why is it not troubling you? So once they get curious as to why that is not working on you nowadays, then they'll change. Then they'll get started getting frustrated, because they want to know the answer, because our mind is as curious as a monkey. So we always want answers.
So
I
think we will
sorry?
only if they want the communication going, that other option works.
Yeah.
There is no need they feel that there is no need for communication, it doesn't work. I don't think it
that's
works.
True. But you can't, you cannot not communicate.
That's right.
That's the problem.
Yeah, so that's
you cannot not communicate, because there will come a time where that person will be forced to have a communication with you.
Yeah, if
because
at all.
There is no other go.
Yeah, there is no. Yeah.
So that is when you face the wall, when your back is against the wall, then there is no other option. They have to have a conversation with you, whether they like it or not.
Yeah, that's true.
So the only way possible, or the only way that we can catalyze it, that is what we should pursue on, or seek how to catalyze that effect, how to get them into that corner quickly, so that they are forced to communicate.
Yeah, that's true. I think he's given us some comments here. It's not about argument. It's one form of communication. A person being silent doesn't mean he is dumb. No, it doesn't mean he's dumb. And I personally think it's actually a very effective way of communication, as long as it's giving you the results that you want.
Yeah. Yes, that's true.
If the result is that you want to put the other person in the corner, you've achieved it. Okay. If the result is that, you want the other person to actually understand what you're trying to say.
Yeah.
Then you have to make sure that that's done too. Sometimes you can just let a person be quiet and with just body language, just hold their hand or whatever. They're when they're sad or when they are upset or whatever, sometimes just that silence with just body language can go a long way in communicating the fact that you are there and you understand, or you empathizing with them, or whatever it may be. And I think that's absolutely effective.
Yeah,
so it's all depends on the circumstances that we are in to use that effectively. So
that's true.
Can you hear me now, Sarah?
Finally, yes, please go ahead.
Okay. I think I missed out a lot of the conversation today. Maybe I was totally silent. Basically, I just finished covering this very important subject of communication skills to the children in Kallakurichi. Okay. From what I understood and whatever I read in all the books and other things which I saw, the communication is, you use a number of methods to communicate with other person. Communications is not just silence alone. I think there is some kind of a misunderstanding happening that silence is the mode we have to adopt for communication. No. Basically, communication is divided into verbal communication and non-verbal communication. And in the non-verbal communication, there is the most important factor is the body language. Almost constitute 55% of any conversation happening between two or more people. Body language is a very important aspect. The other two forms are silence is one mode of communication, and the third one is sign language, for basically the deaf and dumb. So all these three are non-verbal communication, and silence is a part of the non-verbal communication. And actually, like transcending in psychology, you verbal also there are two varieties. It is actually the what you use vocal and then the tone of the language. Tone of the language actually constitute 38% of your conversation. The tone is such an important factor. So the tone and vocal, that comes under the verbal communication, and the balance comes under the non-verbal communication. And silence is a small part, and we keep transcending. We transcend from what we speak, our tone. The same word can mean 100 ways. Like, I was seeing a video yesterday on sir. Sir can be told in 100 ways, meaning 100 things. You accept, you question, all that happens, just one word spoken in a particular tone. Then being silent in the non-verbal is also one part of the non-verbal communication. I think that is where I felt we are not really hitting the nail on the head. The second part is, it doesn't have to mean silence means you are accepting what the other person is saying. Sometimes when you don't accept, also you can remain silent. Because when you find an argument between two people or disagreement between two people, I'll put it that, disagreement between two people, because when both agree, there is no issues. When there is a disagreement between two people, the argument starts. And the argument also, when it becomes futile, that one cannot convince the other. I'm not saying which party is right or wrong here, because right and wrong is the perception of the individual. And there, sometimes, like what Gauri Akka was talking about, silence plays a very important role. Sometimes when you feel very strongly that you are right, then be silent until the other person realizes that whatever he's saying is not entering into you, or you don't agree with what the other person is saying, because further trying to convince somebody who doesn't want to get convinced doesn't help. Just doesn't help. So that is where silence comes in as a big role of communication. And sometimes, even when you don't agree to the other person, sometimes silence brings in peace. And let me assure you, in whatever little experience of life I have, at the end of the day, peace and harmony is the most important thing in life. Whether it is among people, among friends, in the family, with children, anything, peace and harmony is the most important thing. And where you want to use silence in communication is totally up to you. It doesn't mean that you have to agree or not agree.
Actually, yeah, I would actually like to add one point to it. Before having a conversation, we should actually have a sense of that person's attitude or take on life or outlook. I always say, do a homework on to whom are you going to communicate. Only then will it work properly.
Vivek, Vivek, I'd
Yes.
like to add here. Suppose I and you are having a conversation, okay?
Yes.
And when you're saying something, there
Yes.
are times when I'll respond.
Yes.
There are times when I'll remain silent.
Yes.
And now you will have to, you'll be perceiving what the silence is all about.
Yes.
Why is this guy not responding? So that is up
That's
to
good.
you. But again, you're using silence as a communication skill.
But there's a difference.
Now,
Like if you are having a
that's what
conversation
I'm trying to
over the
say.
phone.
It is not necessary always that you have to disagree, but with the being silent also you can disagree.
No. Yeah, of course. Yeah, that I
The
understood.
other person perceives it. Let me assure you that.
Yeah. But the effective means of communication, it's better to have an assessment as to how
No, there's nothing like that.
the personality.
What What is an effective communication, Vivek? Effective communication is finally when both parties come to some kind of a conclusion. That is an effective
yes.
communication.
They come
Yeah.
When,
and
when,
understand.
when and 90%, let me assure you, in all arguments, it only ends up as arguments.
True. That's true. But
There's
like I
no
said,
effective
there's a
communication there.
no, but what I wanted to say there is a difference. Like if we are having a conversation over the phone, your silence may have umpteen number of meanings, but when it is in person, your body language can like reveal as to what that silence means. But over the phone, yeah. But over the phone, it's not possible.
No, I don't agree there also, Vivek. Suppose say you
Ah.
and I are having a conversation on the phone,
Yeah. Okay.
What is the communication? A communication between two people on a phone is
Yeah.
you are trying to say something to me and I'm trying to say something to you. If
True.
I cannot make you understand what I'm trying to say by using any method of communication, then I have
Okay.
failed.
That's true.
If you are not able to communicate with me by saying in any mode, could be silent,
Yeah.
could be body language, could be you can laugh, you can smile, you can shout, anything
Yes.
can happen, you know.
Yeah.
So, but if you're not able to communicate with me, you're failed.
That's
So
true.
communication keeps happening in all modes, even on a phone or directly person to person.
Yeah.
Communication keeps happening, and the perception,
That's true.
what the other person and you want to convey, is the essence of communication.
That's true. That's true.
And you use all these tools. I call it a tool. Silence as a tool,
Yeah.
not as a
Yeah.
only
Means of
activity.
communication. Yeah.
Right?
That's true.
Gaurika
That's
uses silence as a tool. So she,
True.
for
True.
her, she has found it very effective.
Yes. That's true.
Okay, and I am lousy in it, so I always end up in an argument. And
Okay.
at the end of the day, I end up being silent because I find I've lost the battle.
Okay.
So that's what happens, you know. And
that's the
I'm
sorry
sure
face.
Sara agrees with me there because we keep arguing all the time and finally end up being silent. Accepting defeat.
The silence of defeat, I believe.
Oh, my.
Yeah, silence of defeat, that is. So silence is only a tool. We have to understand that.
True. That's true. That's true. Yeah.
So,
But it can be an effective tool also. So
it is.
It is a very effective tool. I'm reiterating. It's a very
Yeah.
see for Gaurika, it is a very effective tool. And if we can learn like what Gaurika has experienced, she's much elder to all of us. So whatever she has experienced in her life, and we can reach there. I think probably it will be handy in our communication skills.
True.
And I am yet to reach anywhere 25% of what she does.
That's
Yeah,
that's
I think
true. That's
personally,
Pretty verbose, you know.
yeah. I think personally, I think it depends on the personality of the individual we're speaking here, or the two or three individuals that are involved in it also depends on, like as Vivek said, the medium of communication also plays a role, and also exactly how you use these tools. They're all effective tools: body language or tone or pitch, or words you use, or
I'm sure Vivek uses these words, sense your tone.
Yeah,
Sense the tone.
everything is important as its place, but at that particular moment, who you're talking to and what their perceptions, all that plays a role. Using it effectively is in the hands of the individual who's using it. They're all effective tools, but if it's not used at the right time, in the right place, in the right way, then obviously mutual understanding is not going to happen.
Communication fails.
Yeah, exactly. So end of the day, you are succeeding only if what you said is understood exactly the way you wanted it to be understood by the other person.
Yes.
The other way around, so that didn't happen, you failed, essentially failed,
Yeah, but it all boils down to the opening statement that I made. Mm-hmm. The efficacy of that skill set, the skill set happens when you are tapped into that silence. Mm-hmm. Like I said in the beginning, once you are tapped into that silence, then everything will become effective. Our communication with the nature.
Vivek gave
Yeah.
an example of a mother and a child or a daughter or whatever it is. That
Yeah.
is a very non-effective use of silence because it only
Yes.
infuriated the other person.
Sorry, I didn't get the last part.
The example you gave of a mother and a daughter, that was
Yeah,
a very ineffective, inappropriate way of using silence as a communication tool because it only
Yes.
infuriated the other person.
Yes.
It didn't help.
Yeah.
So the communication failed there.
Yes.
So probably mother should have immediately changed tack and used your
Yes.
approach of saying what she wanted to say. So
Yes.
it's just transcending. You always transcend. Sometimes
Of
you're
course,
silent,
yes.
sometimes you
That's true.
say few words, sometimes you're verbose.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's just like any other skill. It evolves.
exactly.
It-
But communication is all encompassing.
of course, that's true. That's true.
Manimehalaka, you want to say something?
நீங்க கேக்குறதே எனக்கு இதுக்கு மேல நான் என்னமா எக்ஸ்பிளைன் பண்ண முடியும்? சந்தோஷமா இருக்கு. ஓரளவுக்கு பட் ஃபாலோ பண்ண முடியுமா என்னன்னு தெரியல.
எல்லாரும் ட்ரை தான் பண்ணிட்டு இருக்கோங்க.
ஆமா ஆமா.
கம்யூனிகேஷன்ன்றது ரெண்டு பேருக்கு நடுவுல நடக்கிற பேச்சுவார்த்தைகள். நம்ம பேசுறது அவங்களுக்கு புரியுதா, அவங்க பேசுறது நம்மளுக்கு புரியுதான்றதுதான் கம்யூனிகேஷன்க்கா. I'm sure it happens every day, every minute, every second, where you are communicating with something or the other. And some people will understand, some you will fail, some you will learn, some you will grow. It doesn't mean that everybody is a zero in communication or everybody is an expert in communication. Various methods and various this thing. இதெல்லாம் tools அவ்வளவுதான். Silence is a tool. அந்த டூலை எங்க யூஸ் பண்ணோம்னா அந்த யூஸ் பண்ணோம்னா that it will really be effective. If you use it in the wrong place, naturally it will have a wrong effect. If you use it in the right place, it will have a right effect. Like my mother is there. She will listen to all what is going on, but generally she is silent. But she makes up her own mind and she acts very firmly, whatever she wants to do. She has her own method and technology. There is another person, in our family, who will remain silent when needed be, because if you feel that we are disagreeing with that person, then the person remains silent and then continues doing what the person wants to do. That is another way of behaving. So
True.
everybody uses this as a tool as and when convenient to themselves. But that's the way it goes. And people like us who are verbal always land up in trouble.
Yeah, like I always say, we are all children. We are just trying to use the hammer, the nails, and the screwdriver, all the tools in the toolkit. In which way we know. That's all. We will use it. We will use the hammer to tighten a screw and fail miserably. So these are all. So these are all things that we have. Like I said, like children, we are all evolving as to how to get things done in an effective manner. That's all.
That is why silence is also that's why I wanted this topic, because silence is a very important tool. For example, there are two people who love each other.
Yes.
I mean, they can just hold hands
Yes.
and remain for hours together next to each other without even saying a word.
That's true.
And and communication between them is happening every second.
Yes.
Just the touch of the body.
Yeah.
So silence is a very important tool. That's all I want to do.
Yeah, but the problem is most of the times, like recently, my sister came from Pune and we were having a conversation where she said that people nowadays don't respect silence. Like if two person meet accidentally in the cafeteria, they are forced to have a conversation. As to, like the British say, how's the weather like? What is this supposed to mean? The weather will be either good or bad. It will be chill or it will be hot. So how's the weather like? That's a conversation starter. Why should we start a conversation? Why can't there be a silence? So
Vivek,
that's also
that's
a problem.
The breaking of silence. Vivek, that's the breaking of silence. When you want to break silence, You
Yeah,
you
but
bring in a non.
Yeah.
I mean, not a statement which basically breaks the silence. You know, how are you? You know,
Yeah, that's true.
he's sitting
But
right in front of you. You say, how are you?
why is
Or
there
good morning.
why is there a
So you
necessity?
break the silence.
Yeah, why is there a
No, the
necessity?
necessity
Like,
is because I tell you
it's
the
like
necessity.
peer pressure. Somebody,
You and me are sitting in a cafeteria,
yeah,
and I feel like having a conversation with you.
yeah,
All right.
that's a
For
different thing.
me, when I break the conversation,
Yeah,
when I break the silence, is
yeah,
inviting you for a conversation.
of course, that's there.
And
But
if you don't want to come into the
Yeah.
conversation, you can give
Yeah.
him a smile.
Yes,
Again, you continue in your silence. So
yes,
it's a constant process. So I don't think we should go into generations, because these tools
no.
are right from time
It's not that.
immemorial when communication started.
No. It's not that like I'm blaming the generation. It's not like that. Like there is people believe that there should always be a conversation.
Yeah.
People, that's the problem. If two people meet in the cafeteria, they can very well enjoy the coffee and move on with their lives.
Not
But but the societal pressure, or I don't know what is forcing them to have a conversation. In my sister's case,
No,
she was enjoying the coffee.
I will
The
just
other
like to
person is
add
also
here.
enjoying the coffee. No.
I
My
will like
sister is
to
enjoying the
add
coffee.
here.
The other person is
You're
also enjoying the
traveling.
coffee.
You're traveling in a train. Okay.
Yeah.
You'll
Okay.
come across the kind of people who will
Yes.
start a conversation.
Yeah.
And there are people. These are kind of people who are extroverts who like to make
Yeah.
friends at the drop of the hat.
Yeah. That's
There
true.
are people who are introverts who will not open their mouth and remain within themselves, and they're quite happy remaining within themselves.
Of course.
And
But
this extrovert may try to make him a friend, but then at the end of the day, he'll realize, okay, he's not my type to
he's an
make him a
introvert.
friend.
Yeah.
He'll go. So each one to themselves. Each one to themselves. So
I can
nothing is
agree
right
with
or
these.
wrong here.
No. I'm not saying that right or wrong. I agree with all these three circumstances. But the problem is when two introverts meet in the cafeteria, they are forced to have a conversation. That's the problem. Like I said, my sister. But my sister was having her coffee, and the other person came in. She was also enjoying her coffee, and a silence ensued. And the other person thought that it is necessary to have a conversation and ask this stupid question: how's the weather like?
No.
Yeah, it's just like a social etiquette or
Can we
something
have
like
another
that.
viewpoint? Can we have another viewpoint on this?
Okay.
Your sister was having a cup of coffee. The other person was also having a cup of coffee. Both were
Yes.
enjoying their coffee.
Yeah.
But there came
Both
a
are enjoying the
particular
silence.
point. There came a particular point in that time when the one person felt uncomfortable with the silence.
Yeah.
So
That's
he
what I'm saying.
decided to break the silence.
Yeah.
No, that's what I'm saying. No, when the one person
So
felt
why is that-
uncomfortable with the silence, no, because he felt uncomfortable with the silence. So probably he
If-
thought there
if-
is a need for a conversation.
No.
And if your
both are,
sister felt there is no need for a conversation, she is fully in her rights to remain quiet.
yeah,
But
that's
it is
true.
not wrong or stupid.
I'm not saying it's wrong, but people tend to believe that it is wrong. That's the problem.
No, I don't think so. I don't think that goes like that. I think the silence sometimes gets to a point where it can even become kind of annoying. So that is a time when people like to break silence. So I think we should learn to acknowledge that person, for that person, that much of silence was okay. More than that would have gotten into irritation for the person. So you wanted to break silence, and if you did not want to take part, it's up to you. You need not take part.
That's true. Yeah, that's true. That's true. That's there.
And
Yeah.
so, there's nothing wrong with the person, what the other person did.
No,
There's
I'm
nothing
not
wrong
saying
with
that
what this
it is
person is
wrong.
doing. Yeah.
But
So it's
most
okay.
of the times, the introvert people, like you said, they don't want to have a conversation. But there are circumstances which make them or force them to have a conversation. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That is wrong.
I don't think, Vivek, I think in life, all of us make our choices.
Yeah.
All of us make our choices.
No,
And every
if-
time
if-
a choice presents itself to us.
If you are influenced by
Every
if you are influenced, then
So
is
it's
there a
all
choice?
again, you finally you make the choice.
No. If
It's
you are
okay.
influenced, if you are tend to believe that what you are doing is wrong, even though it is right, then the person is doing something which he or she doesn't want to do. Am I right?
Then again, you made that choice, Vivek. Ultimately, you made that choice, no? Whether you wanted
No,
to say yes or no.
If I'm brainwashed, then is there a choice?
Yeah, you've made a
Meaning-
choice to break it.
Yeah.
No. If
So
I'm
it's okay.
brainwashed, if I'm brainwashed, then there's no choice. I'm a mere puppet.
Again, you let the person brainwash you, Vivek. You let that person brainwash
Yeah,
you.
exactly.
And that is your weakness, not the other person's strength. So I think we should not go deep into it, because it's every time you have a choice. Then
Okay.
there's no point going back and saying, no, I made a wrong choice or right choice, because you made that choice. It's all right.
Of course, yeah.
That's
There's
okay.
no right
Nothing
and
wrong
wrong.
with that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that I agree.
Ultimately, there is nothing right and wrong in this.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
And I'm sure there are many times when I come across in a group, when I go and say hello to
Yeah.
somebody, and that person immediately, by one look at that person, I can feel that I'm actually
Yeah.
trespassing into space.
Trespassing into private space.
Into space. So immediately I withdraw back.
Yeah,
Many
that's
times
true.
it happens. I withdraw back.
course,
And
yeah.
so I got the message. Even without him speaking a word, I get a message.
Yeah.
You're not
True,
welcome.
true.
That's it.
Yeah, that's
So that's a choice he has made. No?
Silence was but well there.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Silence has
effective
worked
use
well
of
for that
silence.
person. For this person, he is trying to break the silence. It didn't work well with him.
But that's okay.
So at the end of the day,
Communication
bottom
happens.
line is, silence is a communicating skill and must be used as a good tool, effectively.
That's there.
That's all.
That's right. Yeah.
All right. Good. I think we kind of get the picture. Right? I mean, any other
So I
questions?
think, Sarah,
Yeah.
we both have to get into agreement.
Argument.
Sometimes silence works.
It does work.
Like what Uncle is saying, that Uncle needs more skill to use silence when it comes
We
to
all-
a conversation with
Absolutely.
our
Absolutely.
I also need it. I also need more.
Absolutely.
All of
Both
us.
of us need it. Both of us need that. Both of us need that.
So
And
we are
sometimes,
silent,
after an
everybody else
argument,
will.
and after an argument, when you remain silent for a little longer time, again that becomes a problem also.
Okay. My
Length of
mother is,
silence is also very important in communication, actually. And I'm glad you brought that up.
I
The
agree with you.
duration of
Yeah.
the silence
Yeah.
is also very,
Very
good
true. Very true. You
when-
can't drag it
for too long.
forever.
Yeah. you
yeah,
can't.
that's true.
And then you're communicating something else, than what you
Yeah.
want. So yeah, that's also very important.
So is your mother also in line?
Yeah, she's listening to all of us talking.
Listening to all that. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So you were saying
She's
something about
silent.
Rati. What was it?
She's using silence very effectively.
Very effectively.
Yeah,
As a convenient tool.
yeah, of course, yes, convenient too.
I think we're
Yeah,
all running out of time.
what she's repeatedly saying is we should all reduce our ego. That's her.
That is true.
Yeah,
That is true.
2 cents.
Ego always leads to problems. Ego is always another subject, actually.
Yeah.
Have to reduce the ego to be silent and to speak at times.
Yes.
Mm.
Yeah.
I think I think we're almost running out of time, so it's going to turn off. So
Okay. Yeah.
call it a day,
Yes.
for this month, and
Yeah,
next
Sarah, sum it up.
okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Maybe you guys can give
Thank
me
you.
a topic for next month, then we can
Sure.
okay.
Yeah. Yes. Sure.
Suggestions would be welcome.
Yeah.
Thank you,
Bye.
ma'am.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Bye-bye,
Thank you.
Sarah.
Thank you.
Bye,
Thank you,
everyone.
Vivek. Thank you.
Bye. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Bye. Bye. Bye.